Hi! So today we have this wonderful book. This is called A Scientist Like Me. Because remember, everyone can be a scientist. So the author is Dr. Shini Somara and the illustrator is Nadja Sarell. Okay, on the back, on the blurb, it says, "There's nothing that Reuben doesn't find fascinating. Why do leaves change colour? What makes ice cream melt? On a trip to the beach with his mum, Reuben discovers how the world works and the brilliant scientists who have helped us understand it. Maybe he can try out some awesome experiments and become a scientist too." Let's find out. Okay, here we go. There we go. Reuben hops down the stairs. Doop, doop, doop. It's his mum's birthday today and they're going to the beach. Oh, I love the beach. Smash! Oh no! The clay vase that Reuben made for his mum is broken. He'll have to find her a new present now. But what? Here's Mum over here. Oh, and have a good look at the house. Looks lovely. Lots of interesting things to look at over here. Family photos. Take a good look. What can we learn from the family pictures? As they walk to the beach, Reuben looks around trying to find a new present. The leaves on the trees are turning red. Why do trees change colour? Reuben asks. What season do you think it is? Because it's autumn now and there's less light during the day, the leaves will start to fall off too, especially as it gets colder. How do you know so much about trees, Mum? It's my job. I'm a biologist, which is a scientist who studies living things. So here's Mum busy at her job as a biologist. So here she is, she's got some plants because they're living things. And here on her screen, she can see the cells that make up the plant. So we're all made up of cells, which is a funny thing to think about, isn't it? Okay, where are they now? The sun bursts out from behind a cloud. "I'm glad we put on our sun cream even though it's autumn," says Mum. It's very important to protect your skin. "How can the sun burn us when it's so far away?" Reuben asks. "The sun is like a huge ball of fire," Mum explains. "It doesn't just give off light but heat too. The sun's atmosphere can be more than 40,000 times hotter than an oven." Whoa! So here's the sun and here's the solar energy beating down, okay? So some people and some companies now have solar panels on their buildings and they can gather and use the energy from the sun instead of using sources of energy that are less good for the environment. Using solar energy is good because we're not burning anything, we're not polluting anything when we use solar energy. "Look, that house has solar panels which use the sun's power to make energy for electricity." So here we go, the solar panel is going to be helping all those things in the house run, like the Hoover and the oven and the computer. What other things can you think of in your homes that use electricity? Reuben spots a bank of recycling bins and looks at the pictures on the front. Oh, take a good look. What can we learn from them? Why are there so many different bins? What do you think goes in there? What's about in there? What about in there? It's important to separate out the materials for recycling. Each material is used in a different way. Glass is melted into new bottles. Now, glass is one of the materials that is easiest to recycle, so that's why it's a good thing to buy as much as you can in glass. So, for example, if you're buying something in the supermarket, if you can buy it in a glass container rather than a plastic one, then that's a really good choice for the environment if you can do that. Food tins are turned into new metal things like paper clips and coat hangers. Metal is also an easy one to recycle. Card becomes cardboard packaging and old paper is made into newspapers and toilet paper. So it's good for the environment if you buy toilet paper that's made from recycled paper. You can also buy toilet paper that's made from bamboo as well. Both of those are good eco-friendly choices. There's a bin for plastic too, but plastic is hard to recycle. That's why recycling plastic isn't the answer to the plastic problem, you see. That's why we must avoid using it as much as we can, especially plastic that is only used once. So you might hear that being referred to as single-use plastic, okay? Single, one time, okay? So single-use, one-time use. Plastic that we use multiple times, so many times, at least we're using it lots of times before it finally gets thrown away, but still it is thrown away. Plastic is very hard to recycle. Some plastics can't be recycled at all, which is even worse. But even when it can be recycled, it's a lot harder to recycle than things like glass and metal and paper. The bins are pretty stinky. There's nothing Reuben can give his mum as a present here. Ugh, yuck. No good for presents. They take a shortcut through the park. Those ducks are so tiny, Reuben says. Mum nods. They're probably only a few days old, but they can swim already. It usually takes humans a whole year to be able to walk. What do we call little baby ducks? What do we call little baby ducks? Ducklings. Mum tells Reuben that humans and other animals are similar in some ways, but very different in others. Oh, there we go. There are the ducklings. They just popped up. And this down here is a heron. That's a type of bird. Oh, what can we see on this page? Each animal species is unique. Okay, so just like every person is unique, not the same as another. Special, thanks to a process called evolution or evolution. You can say it either way. The biologist Charles Darwin developed this idea in the 19th century, so quite a while ago, but still fairly recent for history, okay? It wasn't like it was thousands of years ago. For example, some butterflies have evolved over time to have certain wing colours so that predators think they are poisonous to eat. So predators, things that want to eat them or harm them, okay? So that's a really clever part of evolution. Things evolve to adapt for their environment, okay? So they suit it better. They stop by some flowers that tower over Reuben. Why are these flowers so tall? Do they have to eat lots of food? What do you think? Not quite. They do something called photosynthesis. Big word, very cool word. Plants absorb energy from water, the sun, and a gas called carbon dioxide. Okay, so remember, we've learnt about carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is what people breathe out. Okay, we breathe in the air, the oxygen, and then we breathe out the carbon dioxide. The plants take in the carbon dioxide and then they turn it back into oxygen for us. So without the plants, we would be in a pickle. So here's the solar energy from the sun beating down. The flower takes it in, the plant takes it in, also takes in the carbon dioxide that we've been breathing out and that is in the atmosphere, so around. You can't see the carbon dioxide, just can't see the air that we breathe, okay? They use these things to make sugar, which is energy for the plant. Not quite the same sugar that we eat in sweeties, okay? A little bit different. Water goes up through the roots. Here we go, being sucked up. I wish I could give Mum flowers for her birthday, Reuben thinks, but I can't take flowers from the park. No, that wouldn't be good. Oh, where have we got to now? Reuben sniffs the air as they reach the beach. Silly me. Why is the air so salty, he asks. Actually, the salt's in the sea, says Mum. Rain washes salt from the rocks into rivers that then flow into the sea. Then when the sun heats the sea, water evaporates from the sea's surface, making the sea even saltier. Okay, so let's have a good look here. This is some very cool science. So here we go, evaporating water, so it goes back up into the atmosphere, okay? And there are the salt crystals and they're forming in the sea, okay? After kicking off his shoes, Reuben runs to the sea and jumps into the wave. Splash! Ah, yeah, fun! Mum holds out a towel so Reuben can dry his feet. How can a towel dry water, but my skin can't? Reuben asks. The material of a towel absorbs liquid. Our skin is the opposite. It contains fats which keep water out and our blood in. Well, that's important. We need the blood pumping round our body. Mum points to the beach bar. Time for some treats. Reuben wishes he could buy Mum's drink for her birthday present, but he's already spent all his pocket money. Eat your ice cream quickly before it melts, says Mum. Ice cream. Reuben starts licking fast. Why is it melting, he asks. Why does stuff melt? But not all stuff melts, does it? Ice cream is made from liquid that's been frozen in very cold temperatures. When it starts to warm up outside the freezer, or outside the cold environment, it turns to liquid again. Okay, so just like an ice cube does. Ice cube in the freezer, super cold, it's ice, it's frozen solid. You take it out, you put it in the sunshine, it will melt, it will become a liquid again. It will become water. There we go. And Reuben says, like ice cubes, he says, pointing at Mum's drinks. There's Mum having a nice little drink there. Please, can I have another ice cream, Reuben asks. It was so good. Mum laughs. Maybe later, as it's my birthday, but it wouldn't be healthy to eat ice cream all the time. Why not, Reuben asks. It's important to give our bodies different types of food so they work well, says Mum. Ice cream contains a lot of sugar. Mari Daly was a scientist who did research into how what we eat affects us. She wanted to help us understand what sugar does to our bodies. Okay, so sugar might taste yummy, but it's not good for our bodies. Okay, so a little bit sometimes, but not too often. Mari found that Marie. You can say it either way. It's a tricky one that one. She found that eating less sugar helps to keep our hearts healthy. So we need to keep our hearts healthy so that we can live long, healthy lives. So we don't want to eat too much sugar. Now, you can eat sugar that is in fruit more often. Okay, so there is naturally occurring sugar in fruit. That is not so bad for you, but still, you shouldn't eat fruit all day long. Okay, you should eat a certain amount of fruit, a good amount of fruit, but not a crazy amount of fruit. Okay, so we've got a picture here, healthy choices. Okay, and not so healthy choices. So not so healthy choices, these things have as treats, have sometimes. But remember, children, that we think of these as treats, but all these other things, these healthy things, they can also be delicious. So we shouldn't think of them as like, oh, I have to eat healthily. Eating healthily can be yummy and delicious, okay? And keep us feeling good. And that is just the best thing ever. So we've got lots of lovely things like peas and broccoli. Oh, I think that's an aubergine there. Tomatoes, onions. We've got some bread, some carrots. Okay. Oh, maybe some cherries down there. Chocolate cherries. That always makes me think of. Delicious. Reuben starts building a birthday cake sandcastle for his mum. Oh, that's a nice idea. That can be her present, he decides. How old are you, Mum? Reuben asks, wondering how many candles to make. So Mum says, I'm 44. It might sound old to you, but a super clever scientist called Cynthia Kenyon is working on a way for all humans to live to over 100 years old. Whoa, that is quite old. Our bodies are made up of billions of cells, each containing thousands of genes. So genes, not different kind of genes from the things that we wear, okay? These are genes that give our bodies information about who we are. They carry information about what we look like in a substance called DNA. Okay, so here's the DNA. It's made to look large, okay? It's tiny, tiny, tiny things inside our body, and you can find DNA in the cells. Everything has DNA, including worms. So here's a scientist looking at a worm under a microscope, okay? So she's examining the DNA of a worm there. Cynthia discovered that changing one gene in a type of worm meant that the worm lived twice as long. She's using this discovery to see if she can help humans to live longer. Remember though, children, not every adult likes to be asked how old they are. The sea creeps closer to the sandcastle. Then it starts washing the birthday cake away. Reuben jumps up in horror. Mum, that was your birthday present, he cries. I don't have another one. I broke the first present I made you. Aw. Mum wraps her arms around Reuben. Don't worry, sweetheart. You've given me the best birthday present today anyway. A day with my favourite person in the world. Reuben thinks it over. That does sound like a pretty good present, he says. I just didn't know until I'd given it. That's like a scientist, says Mum. Scientists are often looking for things but don't know exactly what. Science is all about observing things, so looking around and noticing things, and doing experiments to test ideas about how our world works. It's a great job, so Mum clearly loves her job. Mum tells Reuben her favourite science story. So here we go. Alexander Fleming was a scientist who found a way to treat infections by accident. When he came back from holiday, he discovered a green mould in all the Petri dishes in his lab. So those are a special kind of little dish for doing experiments and looking at examples of things in his lab, okay? He realised that the mould killed bacteria. He called it mould juice at first. So bacteria is not a good thing. It will make people ill. But today we know it as penicillin, and it's used to treat all sorts of infections. Wow, so the mould killed the bacteria. Bacteria can make it sick. So that mould he ended up using as penicillin, and penicillin is used to treat all sorts of infections. Wow, I just have one more question, says Reuben. How can I be a scientist like you? So he is full of questions. There are lots of mysteries in our incredible world. Scientists try to solve as many as they can by creating experiments and tests. Do trees have feelings? Why do we dream? What is at the bottom of the ocean? Is outer space actually empty? Do we ever stop getting old? Do you know any scientists? Perhaps you could ask them questions about things you observe. There are many other ways to find information too. You could try searching online with a grown-up or reading books. By understanding the world we live in, scientists can help to improve our everyday and future lives. Wow, look at that. What a super story full of information. So, how do scientists make discoveries? Scientists investigate and experiment to see what might happen. Have a go at this simple experiment to make invisible ink. Oh, fun. Always ask a grown-up for permission first. Some experiments can get messy. In a small bowl, mix up the juice from half a lemon and a few drops of water. Okay, you can experiment with how much water and lemon you need to make the best invisible ink. Once you have mixed the liquids, use a cotton bud like a pen. Dip it in the lemon water mixture and write a secret message on plain white paper. To reveal your message, to show it, okay, to be able to see it, hold your invisible writing up to a light. Your writing will turn brown under the heat of the lamp. Ooh, like that, okay? They've drawn a picture. It's the acid in the lemon juice that turns brown when it's heated. Water makes the lemon juice more invisible, okay? So water makes it more invisible. So we diluted the lemon juice at the beginning with the water, makes it more invisible, and then we heat it up, makes it more visible again. We're able to see it. Invisible, not able to see. Visible, able to see. Working in a team can be one of the best ways to learn an experiment. Instead of using lemons, why not try other liquids you find around the kitchen, such as clear vinegar or milk? So you could try and do different experiments. I wonder which one works out best. Remember, finding out what doesn't work teaches us just as much as discovering what does. Good scientists make the world a better place. Oh, wow, what an awesome book. So I hope you enjoyed it. And now, why don't you go and have a go at that experiment. Bye for now.